Hey, allow me to begin by asking, if you were an alien race, assuming you aren't already, how would you go about taking over the planet Earth? Would you salvo the surface and take what was left? Would you descend from the heavens as Earth's savior, only to enslave the population later? Or would you infiltrate silently and dismantle Earth from within? I don't have any personal experience, but if I was a solo conqueror like our familiar green friend, I'd go with the latter. Some thoughtful espionage is always a safe bet. So, what the hell, let's do a top 5 on Zim's disguises. Zim's first disguise on this list is one near and dear to me since it makes me laugh every time I see it. And it should be fresh in your brain if you watched the worst episode of Invader Zim video. Number 5 is Zim's human suit disguise. This screams human, doesn't it? It even says so on his name tag. He's got a cute little pet sewn to his side and a handbag to carry all his human amenities. Zim wears this one in The Girl Who Cried Gnome, and again in the most horrible Xmas ever. It sort of became his second choice when he didn't feel like wearing regular clothes, when he wanted to do it big for a change. This costume is such an absurd disguise. Disguised with very angry air quotes. His face is sticking out of the front of the damn thing. And he doesn't even bother covering up his Urkin eyes since his costume's actual eyes are on top of his head. Not to say it isn't genius. It is elegant and genius. No one is the wiser, and that's all that really matters for a good disguise.
Get off my lawn, cookie beast!
The next disguise is another one that's a bit absurd. It's one made out of a necessity that only shows up once. Number 4 is Zim's fat lady disguise. Zim pulled no punches with this one. He got a nice wig, a beautiful dress, and even did his makeup. No one asked him to doll himself up, but he went the extra mile and did it anyway. The fat lady sings in the episode Walk for Your Lives. With Dib in a temporal field, Zim created a super slow-moving explosion and needed a way to move it inconspicuously. This is why the fat lady suit is so round. I like this one because it's clever. No one's gonna bother a big lady walking down the street. I couldn't have done better myself. Zim does, however, completely ignore his computer when formulating his plan to dispose of the explosion. But he was quick on the draw and the suit worked until a dog with meat ruined everything.
Dog with meat! Dog with meat!
If you were looking for a timeless piece of clothing, then look no further. Zim's next disguise on the list is a bona fide classic for fans of the show. Number 3 is Zim's old man disguise. He is an old man, right? He has a gray beard, so yeah, why not? The bank robber he looks similar to is kinda old. Yeah, he's an old man. This disguise was introduced in Walk of Doom. It was the original secondary for when Zim wanted to leave his home and not be recognized as Zim, but another perfectly normal human instead. It's so useful and reliable for him that he dusts it off again in Attack of the Salsa Morons to try to retrieve his crashed Voot Runner. And that's the last we see of Old Man Zim, unfortunately, since he loses the pieces of the suit wrestling with a woman. Come on, Zim, you're supposed to be an old man. Old men don't wrestle in parks. No wonder those conspiracists found out he was an alien. After this incident, however, is when Zim began to don the human suit as his regular I'm Not Zim outerwear. So, full circle and whatnot.
Have you the brainworms?
I bet you won't see this next one coming at you. Even though it's the most obvious of Zim's disguises. If you thought the last one was a classic, this is probably the magnum opus. Number 2 is Zim. It's his normal green skin Earthchild disguise. Yes, this is a disguise. I'm sure there's someone out there that doesn't remember that Zim doesn't actually look like this. This is what he looks like. It's such a perfect disguise that even Gurr fails to recognize it when he first puts it on, and that's saying something. He's fooled most of the planet with a hairpiece and contact lenses. It's so simple, it must be brilliant. This disguise appears in about every episode that Zim is in, unless he's at home for most of it. It's second to none, except for Zim's appearance without disguises. That's pretty fudging iconic. And I guess it's also second to whatever tops this top 5.
My victory begins now!
Getting around to the top of the list, number 1 has to be Zim at his most resourceful. I see why the almighty Talus entrusted him alone to prepare the Earth for conquest. Too bad Sizzlor doesn't understand that Zim quit being exiled from Fucordia. Really, this entire episode could have been avoided with a little bit of communication. However, it still happened and Zim still figured out a way up and over his problems. Number 1 is, you guessed it, it's Eric from the episode The Fry Cook What Came From All That Space. No, it's not the happy Schlugor costume filled with white hot grease. Yep, it's the blob guy Eric. Stay with me for a second. Zim needed to get out of Schlugor's and off Foodcordia before the food name began. But he couldn't leave normally because of the Vec Explodey system set to his DNA. If the door scanned his DNA passing through it, then poof, no more Zim. He only escaped because of his living, breathing, and walking Eric suit. Because he was eaten by Eric, he was able to slip through the Vec Explodey system while surrounded by all Eric's thickness. Eric all but told Zim to get inside of him, honestly. But Zim thought critically and devised a plan to escape his prison. Eric is the number 1 Zim disguise and he deserves the top spot. And before we're done here, I want to throw out an honorable mention. Zim's Future Dib robot from Future Dib. It's not quite a disguise, but he does manage to convince the real Dib that he's him from a dark future. He was pretty spot on, save a few very Zim mannerisms and lines.
Yes, it will be magical, but you must go.
Well, there you have it. Zim's top 5 disguises from the childhood favorite television show, Invader Zim. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments, and for more videos like this, subscribe to Stunt Club Soda and keep coming back for those uploads.